About a year ago, McFarlane Toys released a new Superpowers line that was kind of in the style of the old Kenner line, and they looked wonderful, but it seems at least one angry YouTuber doesn't like them. Let's find out why. Well, welcome back to the Junkman, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you with yet another video. And this one here, let me say first up, this isn't a drama video. This isn't a bully video. This isn't a trolling video. This isn't me trying to start trouble. This is me reacting to something put on the internet, which is very common on YouTube. Someone puts out a new Star Wars movie, people give their thoughts on it. Someone puts up a video why they don't like a toy line, people give their thoughts on it. This isn't personal, but I'm sure some of them will find it personal and say, "Man, why you gotta be so mean?"
But someday I'll be living in a big old city, and all you're ever gonna be is mean.
But I think it was last summer, right around there, McFarlane released a new line of Superpower figures that looked great. I love these. They looked awesome. And I liked that the price point of them wasn't crazy. A lot of times figures now are about $20, at least when it's got that good of a detail and size. And these were about $11 to $12, maybe $13, unless you went to FYE. Whew. That stands for you're expensive. If you go there, it's probably $40 a piece. But they look really well done and everything, and everyone I talked to was very happy with this line. And then I heard the angry YouTuber that hates everything toy related didn't like them. My first thought was, surprise, he doesn't like anything. But then my second thought was, how can you not like these? They look awesome. They look really well done and everything. Who could have a problem with these? And if anyone's going to have a problem with it, it's a man that dresses like a postman from the 1950s. So let's find out why he doesn't like these and check it out. Let's go.
A few months ago, someone tells me, "Hey, did you hear that McFarlane is re-releasing Superpowers? They're bringing them back." And I was like, "No, I hadn't heard that." And they said, "Yeah, they're going to bring them back, and McFarlane's going to do figures that we never got before and versions of the other heroes that we never got before." And I was like, cool. So let me know when that happens. And then suddenly they were foisted on Walmart like, surprise! And people were picking them up. And the first question I asked was, how do they scale? Not at all.
Okay, first he didn't know anything about them. Just somebody told him about it. I think in the toy community he would know, but maybe he didn't see the press release that McFarlane released. But how do they scale? Well, I think they scale pretty good. They're not too big. They're not too small. I don't know. Maybe he's got a problem with the size. I don't see why. I can't imagine them being much smaller. Or I don't really like big 6-inch figures, and I think these are right around 4 inches. So let's continue.
Okay, so McFarlane brings out these Superpowers figures, and they are totally not in scale with the originals. Now, that's not necessarily a problem. Tribute figures to older vintage lines have been made all the time. In fact, Superpowers had a tribute line with DC Universe, and then they lost the license, and McFarlane got it. And then a few years after McFarlane gets the license for DC, he goes in on the Superpowers thing, where DC Universe made them 6 inches tall. McFarlane is like, I'm still going to make them taller, but not that tall. But they're still taller than the vintage. But the appeal of the line is that they're going to be different characters. They're not going to be the same ones over again. I'm going to make the figures we didn't get.
Okay, I don't know if he's upset, or I don't know if it's just a comment. Yeah, they make figures we didn't get. That's great. Some figures we didn't get. Always happy to see. And now he talks about the size, that they made them a little bigger. And it's not really up to McFarlane. McFarlane can't make them the same size as the Kenner line. Kenner, now Hasbro, owns that scale. It's like when Gentle Giant makes Star Wars vintage style figures. They're real tall. These toy companies can make, like a Superpowers line, but they can't copy what Hasbro owns. They can't make them the same scale. Mattel can't release a retro Star Wars line, even if Lucasfilm says they can't use what Kenner came up with. Again, now owned by Hasbro. So they have to make them either smaller than the original line or bigger than the original line. So let's continue.
If that's supposed to be the call to action for this line for collectors. These are the superpowers figures you did not get before.
Call to action. Now, I've read the press release. I don't remember anything about being a call to action. I think it was just one of the selling points. That, hey, you'll get some familiar figures like Superman, but you'll get maybe some stuff that we didn't get back in the 80s, maybe stuff that wasn't even around in the 80s to be made into toys. That was just a selling point. I don't know if I'll call it a call to action, but let's find out.
Why on earth would you make them a different scale?
Why on earth would you make them a different scale? I've talked about this. I'll probably say it again. Because McFarlane doesn't have the rights to make them the same size as the Kenner figures. And anyone that knows anything about the toy community, especially the one that's been on YouTube for over 10 years making videos about vintage toys, knows this. They know this without a doubt. They know that McFarlane can't make these figures the same size as the Kenner figures. We all know that. I think even the layman man knows that walking into a store. This is, would get sued by Hasbro if they did this, and they'd be a breach of their contract. In fact, they're not the only one with DC rights. Spin Masters has the right to make figures in more of the 3.75 size, but McFarlane has to make them a different size. They can't really they don't supposed to compete with Spin Masters. It's supposed to be totally different. And some other people got licensed to Batman also, and some other DC characters, and they all have to be different. You can't have stuff these contracts work where, hey, okay, you've got this size figures, you got this little market you're going for, this over here you got more of a kid market going for, so they're different. And everyone knows that, I'm sure.
The moment I heard they weren't the same scale, all of my interest went away. I did not care that they were affordable, that they were lower priced than most action figures made today. I did not care that the artwork and the packaging looked retro and had some of the same Garcia Lopez artwork on it.
Garcia Lopez? Name drop.
None of that matters if they don't display properly on a shelf with the originals.
They don't supposed to display with the originals. It's not like the Hasbro Kenner retro line that looks like the original, like the Mandalorian supposed to fit kind of with the Star Wars look, same size and everything. These aren't the same figures. Sure, they're called superpowers, but they're not part of the Kenner line. They don't supposed to be the Kenner figures. They don't supposed to be replacement for your Kenner figures. They don't supposed to look like your Kenner figures. It's supposed to be just kind of in homage, as your Kenner figures. Kind of like, hey, if they made superpowers today, if Kenner made them, this is probably what they will look like. It's not to complete your collection, to give you figures you never had, to maybe fill some. Let's go.
None of it. I know I sound like a salty jackass.
What's new? Maybe the salty part.
But I think my logic has a point here. Like if you like McFarlane's stuff and you like DC and you don't have a Superpowers vintage line, then by God, go to your heart's content and just buy them. Like, great.
Why can't you have the vintage line and the McFarlane line? Why can't you enjoy both of them?
But if your product's mission statement in part is we're making the ones you didn't get and versions of the characters you never saw in this format.
Okay, the mission statement. Let's take a look at the official press release for McFarlane on these figures right here. And let's see if they hint that they're going to be the same size. Hint if they're supposed to match the originals. If they're supposed to fill in the gaps. Let's find out. Okay guys, I could find no official press release. Maybe it's out there. If it does, let me know. I did find an announcement video by McFarlane himself where he talks about it and how they come in very different scale. Well, he didn't say different compared to Kenner. He said each figure, some figures come in different scales than the other figures. Doesn't really mention Kenner at all. Doesn't say it's a substitute for the Kenner line. Doesn't say it's to add on to your Kenner collection or anything. Doesn't even say anything about the old Kenner line.
Then why on earth would you make these bigger than they originally were?
Why? Because you know why. You know that they can't make these in the same scale. You know this. You know this.
I totally understand not putting the mechanisms in there. In fact, given the things that I said in my Superpowers retrospective, I'm all for not having the stupid little gizmos in there. It would inflate the price of the figures exponentially these days, and it's just not necessary. Just having some good displayable, slightly posable figures in that style is fine.
So even as a kid, he didn't like the action. Now, I wasn't a big fan of the action, but hey, as a kid, you like that. You like a little extra. You want to play with these. This is the type of guy, I guess, even as a kid, opened up his toys, put them on a shelf, wiped them off with a little cloth. What's wrong with the action features? Now, I'm glad that they are cheaper. We can agree that they don't really need that for this line, and it makes them cheaper. Good, I like that.
They have these stupid plastic tag, whatever you want to call those things, where they put a paper tag on a piece of clothing or something. It's one of those plastic tag clips or whatever. They just punched it right through the cape in the bubble, which is like, who was the idiot that thought that was a good idea?
I really don't know what he's talking about here, so I don't have one of these. Unlike him, I like them, but I don't buy them because I don't really care to collect them. Some people will go to the store and spend $12 on something they hate just so they can put it on the nightstand and talk about it. But I'm not like that.
Because now you got a hole in Superman's cape, and Batman's, and God knows
a hole in Superman's cape. Wasn't that a Jim Croce song? Wasn't that a line from a Jim Croce song? You never put a hole in Superman's cape. Remember that?
The size problem, completely avoidable, but
it's not avoidable. You know why they're. I just feel like I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. You know why they're not the same size. You know why General Giant does big jumbo Kenner Star Wars figures, because they can't do the original size.
Completely kills any appeal for this line from people who have larger superpowers collections, who are huge fans of superpowers and would love to pick up McFarlane's superpowers line to start filling those gaps and start adding more variety.
Oh my God! Can you imagine if you were a toy company today and you say, "Hey, let's make a toy line, but let's aim our toys for this small group of collectors only that want to continue their line from the '80s." What kind of logic would a toy company? No, McFarlane knows what he's doing when it comes to toys. I might not like everything he's done. I like some of the things he's done. He changed the world when it came to collecting toys, especially in the '90s. He was a game changer. But you don't market your toys. I mean, these toys have to appeal to the DC fans, big Kenner old school vintage fans, kids that are into comics and Batman and Joker and all that DC stuff. It has to get more than just, hey, I want to finish my collection of Kenner figures from the 80s. You can't mass produce a toy line for that market. And this guy knows that. He knows it. He just hopes you don't know it, so you can have something to be angry about.
And expanding the line beyond what we got. But the moment you break it with an inexplicably larger scale,
it's 4 inches. Not, I believe the other ones were 3.75. I could be wrong top of my head. But either way, just looking at it, he's got them right next to him. It's about that much taller. That much taller.
I'm sure there's speculation as to why. I haven't gone into it. I haven't looked it up. I haven't read it.
You don't have to look into it. You know. The common collector knows that they can't just remake something that Hasbro owns. Yes, Kenner made them. Hasbro bought Kenner. Well, they bought Tonka, and Tonka owned Kenner. And he knows this. He's a retro toy videoer. Oh.
Here are some of you fans out there going to say, "Oh well, there was a rights issue, and you wanted to avoid copyright on this." I'm spitballing here. That's not based on anything. I'm waiting for it.
Hey, he's making fun of me already. How did he know I was going to make this video? No, he knew you all guys was going to go to his comment section and tell him it's a rights issue. We all know that. It's common knowledge, especially for someone that's been around the toy community as long as this guy has.
It still doesn't mean that if you can't walk the walk, then you shouldn't talk the talk.
So because they can't make them look just like the Kenner figures, the same size and everything. Again, maybe the press release said it. We looked at the press release. I'll let you decide if you think they did. But that doesn't mean new fans can't buy it. That means they can't make it for new fans. They can't make it for other people that just like this scale. Or people that say, hey, I want the superpowers. I can't afford them, but I'll buy these. They're a little taller. They're a little better looking to me. So who knows? Lots of reasons. You don't have to tailor make your toys for a guy. I'll stop myself right there. Come on.
And
How many buttons are on this shirt? What the? Okay, I'm getting personal.
The talk is these are meant to
Who has straps on their shoulders?
give you the superpowers figures you never got.
No, it's not to give you the superpower figures you didn't get. It's to maybe if you're in the superpowers, maybe you're in the old line, you're like, hey, I can add to it. Who cares? They're a little taller. That's what it's for. And other things.
But they're going to be taller than all the superpowers figures you already have.
Yes! I feel like a broken record. I know I feel like a broken record, but he's got to know why they didn't do this. And again, you got to go what the market wants. You can't just sell your toy lines to, hey, this is aimed just for the people that collect a Kenner Superpowers line. What? I mean, Star Wars is a niche. Star Wars vintage collecting is a niche right there, but the Superpower line is even nicher than that. Look, he actually looks disgusted at it. Oh, how is it an inch taller? Not even an inch, half an inch. Oh. Hope his wife doesn't worry about size this much.
I don't see the point.
The point is for people that like Batman, Superman, DC, Joker, wants to buy these figures, they can buy them. It's so kids can buy them and play with them.
Like them for what they are, and you want to collect them, and you got none already. Great. If you like them for what they are, and you want to collect them and put them on a separate shelf with, from the vintage superpowers you've already got, great, I guess. If you just like spending money, great, I guess.
Then what are you complaining about? Why do you care? Why does it upset you? You seem like he's upset of how people want to buy something that he doesn't like. I don't like Harry Potter. I don't like Harry Potter. I don't like hearing about Harry Potter. I don't like books about Harry Potter. I don't like toys about Harry Potter. I don't like movies about Harry Potter. I don't like video games about Harry Potter. But hey, go buy all the Harry Potter stuff you want. Won't upset me any.
But if you really like Kenner Superpowers and you want these to mix with them,
nobody's buying these to mix with. Oh.
This is a zero-sum game, and I have no idea why they designed them this way.
Yes, you know why it's designed this way.
Now, if you're asking yourself, well, Michael, why do you have one? It's because a friend of mine really wanted to get my take on this and sent me one that I didn't ask for.
Why? He gets a lot of free stuff. I'm not gonna say anything. He just gets. I've seen a couple of these other videos where I didn't buy it. It was sent to me by somebody.
So here it is, and I've got it, and this is my answer. As far as a collector of vintage Kenner Superpowers goes, this would have been really appealing, but as it stands, literally, it makes no sense.
It makes perfect sense. Let me try to explain this so he may can understand a little bit better. Let me try it his way. I went to Walmart yesterday, not to buy some toys made by a corporation, but just to look to see what kind of crap they were making. And they was making superpower figures, McFarlane. But you know what? They were about this much taller than the originals, like this one right here. Now, why would they make toys for something that's not the same scale? Why would they do that? And plus, they made these toys in the 80s. People that want them already have them. Huh. These toy corporations don't know what they're doing. Sorry, again, this isn't to be drama, this isn't to be mean, this isn't to bully, blah, 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 blah. Oh, Junkman told about me, tell Junkman. Let me get the anal guy to make a video about Junkman. Let me get the furries after Junkman. He said something bad about me on the internet. No, that's not what this is about. Just my take. I can't believe that he acts like he doesn't know why they're not the same size, and why I don't know why he thinks they was marketed as being an add-on to your vintage collection. I don't understand. Let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong. Please let me know if I'm wrong. I want to thank you for watching. I'll put a link to the original video in case you want to check him out. Check out his channel. Subscribe to his channel. You know who he is. I know who he is. We all know who he is. More subscribers he get, the more people like me see my channel. Hey, it's all fun right here. So, hey, subscribe to him. Retro Blasting. Subscribe to me. Subscribe to us all. Thank you for watching. We'll be back soon.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.